Hey there, my little cupcakes. I have a great story. Everything Naomi loved. If you enjoy it, here we go on an adventure. When Naomi wanted to see the world, she looked out of her window. Show you Naomi looking out of her window. When she wanted to see the world, Naomi just looked out of the window. There was so much to see. It had everything. Mr. Ray's Automotive, pizza by the slice, $1 wash, hair by Carmen, honking, blaring, booming cars in the corner bodega, lotto ticks, coffee, ices, fruit. Onto 11th Street. It wasn't pretty, but it was alive. It had all these things. Pizza for $1, a hair salon, cars blaring, a store, everything. It was their neighborhood. It had nature and her best friend, Ada. There's a big tree there. It had nature, and her best friend, Ada, was there with her. They grew up together. Every afternoon, while their parents worked, Naomi and Ada scooted up and scooted down. In the summer, in the shade of the tree, they took sidewalk chalk and drew a forest and tamed the wild animals that roamed by. The Naomi and Ada 11th Street Safari. So in the summer, they would draw on the sidewalk animals and their safari, and they would scoot up and down on their scooters. They were best of friends. By the time their parents came back from work, Naomi and Ada were tired. Their parents were tired. Those nights, Naomi and her mom and dad wished the tree and the neon lights and the never-ending hum of cars and Ada good night. Sweet dreams, 11th Street. So by the time her parents got home, her friend Ada and her were so tired, and they would say good night. To 11th Street. One day Naomi woke up and the tree was gone. They're building something new, said her mom. Something fancy, said her dad. But I love that tree, said Naomi. Suddenly 11th Street looked concrete and gray. They took her beautiful tree. They cut it down. She was so upset. That was my tree, she said. Mr. Ray thought so too, so he got some brushes and paints from his shop. He touched a brush to the wall and something started to grow. Things change, he said, but where I grew up, when something we love goes away, we paint it on the wall. So it's always with us. Do you want to help? Naomi shook her head. She had never seen Mr. Ray paint before. He was so good, she didn't want to ruin it. So he's painting a rainbow and the tree. He was a great artist. And he asked her to help, but she said, I don't want to mess it up. You're so good. So when he was done, 11th Street got its green back. So he drew the tree on the wall that they had cut down. See this? See this tree? That's not real. He drew it. It's beautiful. A few weeks later, Ada buzzed, but not to play. It was to say goodbye. Her family was moving. Their building was being torn down just like that. Naomi's best friend was gone. She's so sad. Ada came to say goodbye because her building was being torn down. Let's see what she's going to do. The next morning, Naomi had no one to play with, so she picked up her sidewalk chalk and drew a scooter on the wall. You want some help? Asked Mr. Ray. Yes, please, said Naomi. So he showed her how to paint a foot and a leg in a summer dress. Ada, said Naomi. Not yet, said Mr. Ray. They made the last touch. Ada smiled. And Naomi couldn't help it. She smiled too. So they drew her friend Naomi on the wall on her scooter, so she would remember her next to the tree that they had painted. But 11th Street changed more and more and more. Shops closed, signs went up. Coming soon, luxury living. And one day Mr. Ray hung a sign of his own. Closed for good. Things changed, he said. Help me say goodbye. Oh, Mr. Ray is so... He had to close his shop and he's writing closed for good. He has tears in his eyes because his business is closing. Together they took out the paint. Mr. Ray painted a rectangle that turned into a window. And in that window, hey, Naomi, hey, said Naomi, that's me. That's what I'll remember, said Mr. Ray. My view every day for the last 8 years, all the time looking out at 11th Street. Naomi never realized she was part of it. He asked, why do you see it? What do you see out of your window? So he drew Naomi looking out. He said, what do you see when you're looking out of your window? Let's see what she says. She said, I see you every morning. So Mr. Ray painted himself waving hola. It looks a bit different, though. You don't have that much hair, said Naomi. Like I said, replied Mr. Ray, I am remembering. He handed her his brushes. Things change, said Naomi. That's how they said goodbye. Aw, so Mr. Ray drew himself when he had more hair. See right here, he drew himself on the wall. And he told her goodbye. My business is closing, I'm going. Soon everyone on the 11th Street was saying goodbye, whether they wanted to or not. Now when Naomi looked out of her window, she didn't see her world. So Naomi took Mr. Ray's brush and everything that 11th Street lost, everything she loved. She painted everything that she loved on the wall to remember how her life was before. She remembered on the wall the pizza smell, baseball on the bodega radio, the laundromat soap and steam, cherry ice from Mrs. Sanchez, even the daydreams under the tree with her best friend on 11th Street. She drew it all. She drew all of her fond memories. See that? She drew everything. She wanted to remember. Then the workers in hard hats came with big machines. They put a fence in front of her wall. They came to make a change. Uh-oh. They came to make a change. There was a wall there with big machinery. Naomi's world was gone, but she kept a little piece. Well, they took down the building. She kept a little piece of the building. See this piece she kept? They knocked her building down. Aw. And her family moved that piece. And when her family moved, that piece stayed with her from 11th Street all the way to 111th Street. It wasn't pretty, but Naomi knew things changed. It's not easy. So they knocked her building down. And she kept a piece of her painting and a piece of her house or her apartment building to remember. A new world will grow. So Naomi's painting, and she said a new world will grow from her new place. I hope you liked it.